Ever wondered if vampires are real? Today, we reveal the truth. Let's dive straight into the heart of the matter. Vampires are real. They are a distinct species that subsists on the life essence of other beings and have been meticulously documented throughout the annals of human history. From the ancient civilizations to the modern world, vampires have been the subjects of awe, fear, and at times, even reverence. Some cultures have elevated them to the status of deities, worshipping these powerful, immortal entities. Their supernatural abilities make them formidable, and they are known to be extremely difficult to destroy. But why then, you might ask, are they not common knowledge? Well, the answer is simple and yet complex. The existence of vampires has been deliberately kept hidden from the general public. The reasons for this are manifold, but primarily it is to prevent widespread panic and chaos. Vampires are not just cunning, but they are also masters of disguise, expertly concealing their true nature. Detecting a vampire, therefore, is no easy task. One must always stay vigilant to ensure their own safety. An unearthly beauty or charisma, a thirst for blood or other life force, and supernatural strength, agility, and senses are among the key traits to watch out for. But the most telling sign is perhaps in their DNA. The mitochondrial DNA of a vampire is different from that of a human. They are a separate species that have evolved differently from us over the course of many centuries. This evolution has resulted in genetic mutations and adaptations that give them their unique abilities and characteristics, including their need for blood or life force to survive. The differences in their mitochondrial DNA are what sets vampires apart from humans and allows them to possess their supernatural powers. In essence, vampires are more than just fictional characters from Gothic novels or Hollywood movies. They are real, they are among us, and they are more fascinating than we could have ever imagined. The truth is out there, and it's more fascinating than you could have ever imagined. Before we delve deeper into the world of vampires, let's debunk some myths. You see, vampires are often misunderstood creatures, shrouded in myths and legends. The truth, however, is far more intriguing. Contrary to popular belief, vampires are not immortal. They do have an impressively long lifespan, living up to 200 years. But they are not eternal beings. This myth likely originated from their rapid healing abilities, which allow them to recover from injuries that would be fatal to humans. Imagine a being that can fall off a building or take a bullet and walk away unscathed. It's no wonder people thought they were immortal. And what about sunlight? Contrary to the Hollywood trope, vampires can walk in the sunlight without bursting into flames. While they are night dwellers by nature, sunlight does not harm them. Another lesser-known fact about vampires is their ability to read thoughts. This adds to their mysterious allure, giving them an edge when interacting with humans. They can sense your fears, your desires, and use them to their advantage. Imagine having a conversation with someone who knows your every thought. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Lastly, let's talk about their strength. Vampires possess a physical prowess far superior to humans. They can lift heavy objects like cars with ease, adding to their formidable nature. These unique characteristics make vampires a fascinating species to study. They are more than just the bloodthirsty creatures of the night we've come to know from stories and movies. They are complex, they are intriguing, and they are real. So buckle up as we delve deeper into the world of vampires. So, how do you spot a vampire? It's a question that has puzzled mankind for centuries. Vampires are, after all, elusive creatures of the night, shrouded in mystery and misconceptions. But there are a few telltale traits that can help us unmask these night dwellers. Firstly, let's talk about their charisma. Vampires are often described as possessing an unearthly beauty or charm that can be unnerving. This charisma can be so overwhelming that it borders on hypnotic, compelling individuals to be drawn to them, often without understanding why. Next, we come to their notorious thirst for blood. This isn't just a fancy Hollywood trope, it's a biological necessity. Vampires subsist on the life essence of other beings, and this is often associated with a craving for blood or other life forces. This hunger could manifest in subtle ways, perhaps a fascination with the color red or an odd preference for rare steak. And then there are their supernatural abilities. Vampires are known for their heightened strength, agility, and senses, far exceeding those of a typical human. They might display an uncanny ability to see in the dark, hear whispers from across the room, or exhibit strength that seems impossible for their physique. However, spotting a vampire isn't as simple as checking off a list of characteristics. Vampires are cunning. experts at hiding their true nature and integrating seamlessly into human society. Their ability to blend in is what makes them so difficult to detect. They are the masters of disguise, living in the shadows, observing and often manipulating human behavior. So, identifying a vampire requires careful observation and a healthy dose of skepticism. Look beyond the surface, question the extraordinary, and beware of the alluring charm that seems too good to be true. Knowing these signs may just save your life one day. Remember, knowledge is power, and in this case it might be the only thing standing between you and a vampire's hypnotic gaze. So stay cautious, stay observant, and most importantly, stay safe. What makes vampires so different from us? You might ask. The answer rests in the building blocks of life itself, DNA. But not just any DNA, we're talking about mitochondrial DNA. This is the DNA that resides outside the nucleus of a cell, and it's inherited solely from the mother. It's crucial for energy production, and interestingly enough, it's what sets vampires apart from us humans. It's been discovered that the mitochondrial DNA of vampires is strikingly different from that of humans. This isn't just a minor variation we're talking about. Oh no, it's a stark contrast. A divergence so profound that it points to vampires being a separate species that evolved differently from humans over the course of many centuries. Now, evolution is a funny thing. It's a slow, painstaking process that happens over an immense span of time, leading to genetic mutations and adaptations. In the case of vampires, these genetic changes have resulted in some pretty unique abilities and characteristics. For instance, their need for blood or life force to survive isn't some twisted desire, but a biological necessity. It's a survival tactic, much like how we humans need oxygen to breathe. This is just one of the many fascinating outcomes of their unique mitochondrial DNA. But it doesn't stop there. This distinct DNA is also the key to their supernatural powers. Think about it. Their uncanny strength, agility, and heightened senses aren't just the stuff of horror flicks. These traits are the result of real, tangible genetic differences. It's their DNA that allows them to possess these extraordinary abilities. So the next time you think about vampires, remember, they aren't just creatures of myth and legend. Their distinctiveness goes beyond the folkloric tales and Hollywood depictions. It's embedded in their very genetic makeup. They are not just mythical creatures, but a different species altogether. Forget everything you've seen in the movies. Hollywood, with all its glitz and glamour, has a knack for dramatic flair. It's their business after all. But when it comes to vampires, the silver screen has, unfortunately, been more misleading than truthful. The fanged, cape-draped creatures of the night that you've seen in countless films are a far cry from the real deal. Let's talk about fangs, the most iconic vampire feature according to Hollywood. It's a common belief that vampires are equipped with elongated, sharp teeth, ready to pierce the necks of their unsuspecting victims. But that's a cinematic myth. Real vampires don't have fangs. Shocking, right? So if not fangs, then how do they feed? Well, it's a bit more subtle and arguably a lot more fascinating. Behind their front teeth, vampires have two hidden teeth, quite similar to the vampire bat. These teeth are retractable and only come into play when it's time to feed. This mechanism is less about theatrics and more about survival. It's efficient, discreet, and perfectly adapted for their lifestyle. And let's not forget that these creatures are cunning. They've managed to remain hidden for centuries, blending in with us, maintaining their secrecy. A flashy set of fangs would be counterproductive, wouldn't it? Vampires are not the monsters Hollywood has made them out to be. They are a separate species, evolved over centuries, adapting and surviving. Their unique feeding mechanism is just one aspect of their fascinating biology. So next time you watch a vampire movie, remember to take it with a grain of salt. The truth about vampires, as with many things, lies beneath the surface, hidden from plain sight, waiting to be discovered. Real vampires are far more complex and intriguing than their Hollywood counterparts. So where do vampires fit into our world? This question might sound like something out of a fantasy novel, but it's one we're going to explore. Vampires, as we've discussed, are real entities, not mere figments of our collective imagination. Their existence is intertwined with ours in ways we're only beginning to understand. They live among us, concealed behind the veil of normalcy. You may be wondering how they manage to blend in. Well, it's simple. They're as cunning as they are elusive. In our society, vampires have found ways to adapt and integrate. They could be your neighbor, your co-worker, or even your friend. They've learned to mimic human behavior and social norms, hiding their true nature behind the everyday facade of a regular person. Their supernatural abilities, such as enhanced strength and senses, are kept under wraps, only surfacing when necessary. Their roles in society are as diverse as ours. They could be in professions that allow them to move around freely without arousing suspicion, or in positions where they have easy access to their source of sustenance, the life essence of other beings. They might even be involved in fields that allow them to cover their tracks, such as law enforcement or medical professions. But remember, detecting a vampire can be tricky. Their unearthly beauty or charisma might draw you in, but it's their behavior that should give them away. An inexplicable thirst, a peculiar strength, or an extraordinary agility are telltale signs. However, these signs might be subtle, and so it becomes crucial to observe keenly and tread cautiously. The mitochondrial DNA of vampires is distinctive, marking them as a separate species. Yet they've evolved alongside us, maintaining an intricate balance of coexistence. This unique evolution, coupled with their cunning, allows them to live among us, undetected and unchallenged. So the next time you find yourself in a crowd, remember this: vampires aren't just confined to the realm of the supernatural. They walk among us, hidden in plain sight. So are vampires a threat or just misunderstood beings? This is the question we've been exploring throughout our journey. Let's summarize our key points. Vampires are real, they exist. They are not figments of our imagination, nor are they just characters from folklore or Hollywood movies. They are a separate species that has evolved differently from humans over the course of many centuries. Their existence has been documented throughout human history, with some cultures even worshipping them as powerful immortal entities. They live among us, hiding their true nature with an unearthly beauty or charisma, making their detection a challenging task. These beings subsist on the life essence of others. Their mitochondrial DNA, which is different from that of humans, gives them supernatural abilities, including supernatural strength, agility, and senses. This thirst for life force, often depicted as a thirst for blood, is not a choice but a survival necessity. We've also debunked the myth of fangs. In reality, vampires have two hidden teeth behind their front ones, similar to a vampire bat, which retract before feeding. This again is a result of their unique evolution and adaptation, rather than a symbol of malevolence. It's important to understand that vampires are not inherently evil or dangerous. Like every species, they are driven by their instincts for survival. Their cunning nature and the need to hide their true selves stem from the need to coexist peacefully in a world that may not understand or accept them. We must approach the subject of vampires with an open mind and a cautious heart. They are a part of our world, and our understanding and acceptance can pave the way for peaceful coexistence. So to answer our initial question, are vampires a threat or just misunderstood beings? The answer lies in our perspective and understanding. Vampires are real, but perhaps they are not the monsters we've made them out to be.